say he wandered very far, very far, over land and sea. A little shy,
Turn away from his villagers.
sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one day, a magic day, he passed my way. And while we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he saw. A magic day he passed my way. And while we spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me. How do I describe to you the Moulin Rouge?
Montmartre was a village on a hill near Paris where flour was milled. These mills, as time went on, became the location for working-class dance halls. Impresario Charles Zidler and his partner had the radical idea of creating an illicit theme park, his Palace of Women, a carnal playground that was created not for the working class, but a place where the rich and powerful could fashionably slum, under the ever-turning sails of its symbol, the red windmill, le Moulin Rouge.
This is version number 2 of the exterior Moulin Rouge.
I'm designing the sign of the exterior of the Moulin Rouge.
The original Moulin Rouge was designed by an illustrator called Willett. He was commissioned by Zidler to do a themed environment that was crowned by a windmill and had 2 themed structures on either side. Zidler embraced electricity with a passion and totally illuminated the facade of the Moulin Rouge.
Electricity, I love it.
That's so beautiful.
In fact, the area surrounding the Moulin Rouge was one of the first to be electrified. Christian's garret was designed to be the room of a penniless poet. It was directly opposite the turning sails of the Red Windmill and the Moulin Rouge. Baz wanted the Red Windmill to be the view directly outside his window while he was typing. For Christian's garret, we made 2 versions of it. The first version was a real-size garret in which all the interior scenes took place. It also had a half exterior so that we could shoot inside and outside of the window. And the second version of Christian's garret that we built was a model which encompassed his apartment and Toulouse's apartment above.
Stick cam on. All right.
Baz, with the big stick, he's using it to express how he wants the shot to look.
This bow contact's too long. I decided to get it done myself.
Unfortunately, there's a man in it at all times, but...
Baz likes to use his own video camera to express to all of us what he imagines the content of the shot will be. It's the easiest way of getting inside Baz's head and understanding the look and the feel he wants to achieve. Christian's garret is what would appear, I suppose, to be the simplest interior out of all the interiors in Moulin Rouge. But ironically, usually the most simple are the most difficult because there are so few pieces of furniture, they have the most focus.
Okay, here we go. Here we go, shooting.
How do you do?
Cut and check the gate.
The thing about it is, though, is that it'll be a 70s disco with everybody in incredibly full-on costume, like top hats.
This particular dance hall was built to capitalise on the dance craze of the can-can. At this point, it wasn't kickline kind of dance, it was more like a cross between breakdancing and lap dancing. There were a number of enclosed dance halls in Paris, but this was arguably the largest and the most sumptuous. The main hall of the Moulin Rouge probably at any given time could have had somewhere between 1,500 to 2,000 people in it. On any given day, we could only have 350 extras. So in order to give Baz an experience of what that would be in the hall, we got a whole bunch of scale railway people and stuck them into realistic groupings and built a model that was in the same scale as the people and showed Baz.
Yep. So that's everybody, freaks, everything.
It's 297. That's our full company.
Excitement plus. Crowd in background. Yeah, they're wild, they're funky, they're crazy.
Can you perform Satin's central entrance?
Grab the lady on stage and bring it into the centre of the floor.
Yep.
The sparkling diamond.
100 to 150 people at any one time were constructing the set of the Moulin Rouge. This included everyone from a carpenter to a soft furnisher to a decorator to a metal worker to a moulder to a plasterer, floor specialists that come in to make sure the floor works.
Here we go.
So the rule was to give the audience watching the movie the experience of being in the Moulin Rouge like the punter was in 1890.
That's the sort of rehearsal you really got to rock the joints. Here we go. Standing by. Bravo, terrific.
The garden of the Moulin Rouge was a sort of secondary dance area. It was also the historical equivalent of a beer garden / pickup joint. It had a lot of extra entertainment possibilities, sideshow booths, the bandstand. There was a boxing ring where people could watch boxing, donkey rides so you could get to see girls lifting their dresses. There were bushes for illicit rendezvous, and of course there was the giant elephant.
The Moulin Rouge actually had a giant elephant in the garden, and inside of it was an opium den and an Arabic nightclub. Our elephant's a little bit different, but it was the same kind of building.
In our movie, it houses Satin's boudoir, the Elephant Red Room.
A little supper? Maybe some champagne?
Developing the elephant was one of the most lengthy processes in designing Moulin Rouge for a lot of practical reasons. The audience needed to believe that you were inside the stomach of an elephant, which meant it needed to have the feeling of being rounded and belly-like.
us very much, but certainly no further.
We also had to make a real scale elephant at about 30 foot or 10 metres tall. For the Moulin Rouge garden, we built 2 interpretations of it. The first one was a real life set with a 10-metre elephant, and the second version of the set was a 1:10 scale model that we shot to fill in any of the gaps of things that we weren't able to shoot on the real set. We had very limited shooting time inside the garden. We were running over schedule and Star Wars was coming in hot on our heels. So we had to leave the garden after 4 days of shooting instead of the scheduled 7. I think seeing the elephant, our de facto mascot, being destroyed in the garden was a very sad moment in the filming of Moulin Rouge.
From the very first stages of writing, based on the Orphean myth, Orpheus was a young man who had a gift, a genius gift for song. It was so beautiful that the very rocks and stones would get up and follow him everywhere he went. That's how great it was. And it was essential in our film that Christian had an almost magical gift for poetry. Now, as soon as Craig and I started writing, genius poetry, it became pretty clear that we weren't going to be able to do that job very well.
Well, if his poetry is great songs of the 20th century, then it's a kind of a collection, a mad outpouring of all the great love songs.
That's the bigger notion in the film for the audience, which is, even if you're not a prostitute in Moulin Rouge, many people sleepwalk through life going, I got hurt once, I'm not having an emotional life. So you've got to open people up to the notion of emotional life, but what's the argument?
The beauty of his words and talent make her fall in love with it.
Yeah, but what words did he say? You do need a ballad that they sing together as a piece of drama.
We looked at a lot of songs, and then at one stage it was going to be a duet, like What's Love Got to Do With It mixed with Higher Love.
The problem with the 2 songs was that there was no development in the ideas, and the 2 characters who were having an argument really weren't having an argument anymore because they weren't able to better their opponent.
Don't leave me this way, I can't survive without your sweet love. Oh baby, don't leave me.
You think that people would have had enough of silly love songs?
What bringing many more songs into the equation did was that each character was suddenly armed with new ammunition to top the other character.
The idea behind the argument was, but love is the greatest thing to live for, from Christian. Whereas Satin was, no, I'm a career girl, I can't afford to love.
We've turned a song that's formerly known as, just sung by one character.
We can be heroes, just for one day. We had to find popular song that all the audience could agree or sign off on to tell that argument, to make that argument work.
Songs that have only ever been sung in one voice are suddenly being turned into dialogue between 2 people.
We could be heroes just for one
This
day.
is something of the style of the Red Curtain cinema, of taking something that at the heart of it is very beautiful and powerful. Just return it around, look at it from another angle.
We've had to stretch and bend the very mechanics of music licensing to fit our story.
The writing of the love melody came from a dramatic need for Christian to make Satin break her golden rule and fall in love.
Look at these songs you think you know and discover them and experience them in a new and different way.
Just for one day, we can be heroes forever and ever. We can be heroes just because of God. first met Nicole back in 1999 in Sydney, in fact, Australia.
That's right, yeah.
And we were making a movie called...
what is it? It was called The Untitled Best Omen Project.
So we've known each other for about 25 years now, and we've been drinking together for 50. So we're going to sing a love song. It goes something like this.
Our Moulin Rouge wasn't just a historical Moulin Rouge. It was a conglomeration of historical fact and also research that we did on nightclubs and bordellos of the period. The Gothic Tower was based on the themed facade of the actual Moulin Rouge. And we're not sure what actually happened inside it, but we surmised that it could possibly have been like one of those incredible themed brothel rooms that were available for the use of the wealthy gentlemen in the late 19th century in Paris. There were many revival styles in the late 19th century, and the Gothic revival style was one of the most popular.
Like that way, at the shop. Look, not that way, this way goes forward. And you really see like horror, I think it's a bit demonic, the whole thing. They're like devils, tempting, okay? Good. Feel evil. Is that something you can relate to? Dig down the trough and try and find I know your friend.
Originally, we had a scene where Môme Fromage, dressed as a dominatrix, whipped a whole bunch of men wearing leather nappies to the tune of Grace Jones' Slave to the Rhythm, in order to underline the sadomasochistic fetish bent of this particular room. I worked very hard on this scene and I can't believe it was cut.
One of the biggest challenges of the film was how to create a comic, tragic, cinematic language, because we don't have that as a tradition except in Bollywood films.
He's gonna kill! They're trying to kill you! She turned against you to save you!
Hold your tongue!
I am the device is that you flick from silliness, comedy,
God, seize them!
to tragedy very quickly. From the perspective of the audience, the play, it's comic, it's a fairy tale.
Sitar player doesn't love you!
When you come behind the characters and shoot against the audience, it makes them appear just that little more real, and we see the pain and the drama of the characters of the film. The problem was, we didn't complete the happy ending. We had written a script with Satin dying on stage before the curtain came down. And this totally disarmed the idea of a comic tragedy. So having realised our mistake, Craig and I then rewrote the ending, bringing the curtain down, separating the on-stage happy ending from the backstage tragic, sad ending of Satin's death at the end of the film. All that was left was to shoot it.
No matter what you say, the show is getting our way.
Moments before we rolled, I realised we had a major problem. The new rewrite had not dealt with 3 major issues. We had already shot the Duke upstage with Warner. That meant he would be included in Satin's death scene. This was wrong, as his function ended with the happy ending on the other side of the curtain. 2, what to do about the gun, how the Duke got the gun, how to separate the gun from the Duke. And 3, what to do with Ziedler. Which side of the curtain should he end up on? And having decided this, how to get him there. Here's my ending, right? We're trying to resolve the end of the movie. Isn't there any privacy? The Duke is all the way down the end of the... He's leaving to go around backstage, so he's gone right down the end of the aisle. He sees the gun, right? And he thinks, no, my way. And he runs, he picks up the gun. He's running towards the stage. He's really jealous. He goes, it's going to end my way. Dying, gun coming down, sign on, Day. And going my way, dying day. Running towards the stage, running slow-mo, gonna hit the couple. Boom, pull back. His face goes back, he's falling back, the gun goes up in the air. It's Ziedler. Ziedler's made the decision that he chooses the artist side, not the side of the financier. Jude falling back, falling back, falling back.